Yes, y'all, as they would say at a hip hop concert. What it do? What it do? It's your man, 50 grand Kevin Barnes, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. And I'm in the building for another edition of the Big Black Sports Show. And I have the wrong banner up, so let me get that down right away. The Big Black Sports Show. It's not Outlaw Radio, it's the Big Black Sports Show. Outlaw Radio is what I did last night and what I'll do tomorrow night. But tonight we're going to talk about sports. And it's
Yes,
all
sir.
talk from a black perspective, in particular, black male's perspective. So buckle up. And if you're sensitive, then I really want you to listen because I want you to be in your feelings. And if you are in your feelings, hit us up, comment, chime in, call in, do what it is that you do. I'm not alone. I have my esteemed co-host looking and sounding a whole lot better this week. What's popping with you, Mr. Purdue?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be here. And I'm ready to talk sports. Ready to chop it up.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. First of all, I want to give condolences and prayers to anybody in our community who's lost someone. I want you to be focused, and I want you to understand that everything happens for a reason, and it's only a season, right? So we grieve for so long, and we have to move on. I know a lot of people have lost someone that may be tuning in, may be reaching out to this message, may be reaching out to touch you. I know they say on Facebook, I don't know who need to hear this, but right. And then some of y'all just need to get on your knees and pray. That's a whole different show, right? That's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff we talk about on Outlaw Radio, man. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be here. The People's Network is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And check this out. Mondays is Outlaw Radio with myself, Kamar Carter, Courtney Francois. Tuesdays is myself with Mr. Larry, Coach Tank Purdue for the Big Black Sports Show. Tomorrow is another Outlaw Radio. And this Thursday is the first episode of Outlaw Nation. So y'all be ready for that. Outlaw Nation is coming. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be really a platform for all of y'all, for Milwaukee.
Gotta check that out.
For the people,
check
man.
That out.
Right. So it's gonna be about whatever y'all want to talk about. It's gonna be about whatever's in the news, and it's just gonna be a way we can relax and just have some good conversation and laugh. Because I feel like Outlaw Radio is pretty serious sometimes, and it's really topic based, and it's really my contribution to the state of the people, just an attempt to inform our people. So I do Outlaw Radio, and I think it's needed. But I ain't all work and no play. So we're gonna do Outlaw Nation starting Thursday. So I hope y'all are with us. What else we got? Shout out to Kamar Carter, like I said. Shout out to LaDella Greer, who called in last week and supported us and was hilarious, by the way, right? Like the thing he was doing, he had us thinking like Lena Taylor had won the election, like
right.
Oh, just kidding. Right.
I'm sure we'll hear from him tonight.
Right.
I'm sure we'll hear from Coach tonight.
Shout out to Kamar Carter. Right. He's always a supporter of ours. And we all coach together, so you got to know this is a lot of humor. Earl Henning, I see you early in the chat room. I've seen better slam dunking at Lincoln Park. NBA All-Star Millionaires. Paris LaShawn, Peace, Outlaw Radio, Big Black Sports Show. His brother Che from Frontline Black News and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Yes, sir. Check them out. Check out Frontline Black News and Shabaka St. Cour's Black Experience Enhanced. Friends of the show, right? So shout out to our brothers. Shout out to my chat. As always, hit like, hit share, hit follow, share the show, man. Make sure you share the show. That's okay. You're gonna get it together over there. You in your new studio, your newly minted studio.
I'm still working on my technical difficulties here, but we'll be straight.
Oh, no
at
doubt.
Some point.
No doubt. Ain't nothing but a thing, as they say. A lot going on in sports. So we should have a pretty good show tonight. Make sure y'all chime in. Make sure that you all share the show. Hit the Cash App running across the bottom right there, $ KB7524. I am attempting to construct a multimedia center here in Milwaukee, a multimedia organization. I feel like our media outlets here are Chitlin Circuit at best, and they don't really represent us like they should. And this is why Milwaukee does not have a national entity that represents us and represents this city. So we're going to build one. I'm not going to wait on a bus that might not never come. And it'll be built one way or another. but I sure would appreciate y'all to hit that Cash App and donate. This equipment that we use costs money. In order to do anything, you need bread, right? So what's up, man? But man, Tank, a lot going on in sports. Everybody knows we can just start with the biggest thing, right? And that's All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend. I gotta
man.
And I'm only giving it that for two reasons. And I'm not the game. Now, we talked about this. You and I talked about this. The effort that's put up in All-Star contests. We talked about this last week. I'm gonna get at you about that. So I wanted to break it down how we discussed this. I wanted to just start off with the skills challenge. So we'll start from there. Let's start with the obvious, the what they call it, the elephant in the room, the dunk contest. What do you think about the dunk contest?
It was terrible. I didn't even, I barely watched it. It wasn't entertaining, and at some point, somebody has to do something different.
Okay.
At some point, somebody has to do something new and different, man. They're all doing the same damn dunks. It was boring. And that's usually my favorite part of the All-Star Weekend is the dunk contest. And that shit was terrible. I don't even remember who won it. And that's terrible.
Wow.
That's bad, man.
Yeah, that says a lot. Okay, so for me with the dunk contest has been stagnant for a while. I don't think this is anything new. But let me say this. One of the reasons why the dunk contest is kind of lost a little bit of his luster is because the best dunkers in the NBA are no longer competing in the dunk contest because it's a brother who's starting in the game per se. They sit it out. Like John Morant should have definitely, and you still young. He's still young. What's it, year 2? One of my favorite youngsters in this game. He should have definitely been in the dunk contest. Like the dunk he did in the All-Star game was better than every dunk I seen in the dunking contest. I think so. So there needs to be some star power added back to it. But also I feel like the level is set, so the bar is set so high, right? Like for the dunking contest, because what haven't we seen, right? Which is why you see a lot of them trying to East Bay, trying to do tricks. I seen, the brother had put the NFT thing around his neck and he realized it's gonna smack the shit out of me and hit me in the face. Right. You seen Greg Anthony's son put the Timbos on, but I mean, what are you gonna do? So I think you need a little bit more star power, and I think these dunks need to be really, like you said, take some time. Don't just and another thing was there were too many missed attempts.
Right.
That kind of just dulls the whole thing out when you got to, and they're trying to do the same thing over and over, and it's like it's not working, bro. You got to move
that's
on.
Definitely a rule they got to get rid of. They got to get rid of that.
Yeah,
really.
I felt, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you just got to revise the dunking contest. I feel like I heard, and I don't know how they could work this out, but I feel like I heard someone would come up with an idea and say maybe they should get like some college dunkers in there and have the college guys against some pro guys, or maybe they need to define each class, right? Like, so have freestyle dunk, have prop dunks, have all these kinds of things. Even put a session in there where you put like one-on-one and okay, but one-on-one dunk. See who can get in there and a minute to get off on somebody. So it's a lot of different ways that it could be done. But I definitely think I'm gonna have to agree with you and Earl Henning. The dunk contest was not good. And I could have had the video uploaded, right? Because that's where we at now with our technology. I could have had some of this uploaded, but I didn't. I didn't. It was just so bad. I just didn't even bother.
It was terrible, man. It was terrible.
Right. And then the 3-point contest was a little disappointing as well. Trae Young didn't do well, who's probably the best shooter who was there. A lot of the guys who were better shooters. Why is Steph Curry not mandated to be in the 3-point contest? How is this?
Right.
So
what is happening to the NBA where the best shooters and the best dunkers are refusing to take center stage on their platforms? Larry Bird, one of the best players in the league, he didn't shy away from the 3-point contest. So why are you shying away from it, Steph?
Right. Well, I mean, back in the days, Jordan participated early on in the dunking contest. But then in the later years, and he was older too. He didn't, right. But as a youngster, he was, and that's really what kind of Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins are the reason why the dunk contest, and of course you got Julius Erving, who would come from the free throw line and stuff like that. But Michael Jordan is part of the reason why the bar set so high, right? Because honestly, what Jordan and Dominique did back in the days is like who's topped those dunks? Like the dunks that they did back then, Shawn Kemp and all these guys. I even seen Clyde Drexler back in the days. People forget Clyde was a phenomenal leaper and could dunk, right? So
Phi Jammer Slammer.
Right. People don't even know anything.
University of Houston, Phi Jammer Slammer. Look it up, youngsters.
Yeah. King Olajuwon. Yeah, I mean, that's a great documentary on ESPN too. Yeah. About the Phi Jammer Slammer. But no, I mean, so the 3-point contest was won by Karl Anthony Towns, who's a big, ginormous dude who if it's like that, I feel like Joel Embiid should have, shot in the 3-point.
Right.
Like I feel like he got probably the best J out of all the big men right now, especially Giannis.
So Karl Anthony Towns is a center.
Well, right. What do you call a center right now in the NBA? The NBA has changed so much. Traditional. He's a big man. He's a 5, or that's a center.
Right. He's a stretch 5, as they call.
Okay.
Now here's the thing, though. And I guess I need to watch more basketball, but I don't see Karl Anthony Towns shooting that many threes during games. He's really a down. He's usually a down in the post guy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody chime in and let me know. I don't see this guy shooting a lot of 3-pointers.
Right.
Either the stretch 5 has now arrived, or a lot of shooters the right shooters just weren't in this contest.
Ain't nobody but him and his mama even thought he would be in the 3-point contest. They're like, come on. That was a total surprise. Even he was surprised. Like, yeah, I won. Like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't even like I said, it wasn't a normal night. Because I felt like Trae Young, who was the odds-on favorite, probably should. He just didn't shoot well. A couple of the other guys who were really sure shooters didn't shoot well. So it wasn't as bad as the dunking contest, right? Like, Earl Hennig said, get some brothers. Matter of fact, I'm telling y'all what he said. I can show y'all what he said. He said, get some from the hoods all over America, right? So go out and get the brothers who at the playground coming from the free throw line, dunking the ball, and bring them in, right? That's a good idea. As you know, them brothers are gonna come in there hungry. They might jump from half court.
Right.
Hey,
kissing the backboard.
Right. You don't never know what's gonna happen. But yeah, so you're right. Towns ain't gonna, that's not the role he plays in their defense and their offense. The Timberwolves got a young squad. Yeah. They have a really good young squad, and they got shooters.
Man, I love Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. So they got some stars over there. So yeah, the 3-point contest. Okay, and then the game. So now we get finally. Oh, what? Let's go back. Before that, though. Macy Gray. Macy Gray does the what do you call it? National anthem, right? I can't believe I couldn't remember that shit, right? I couldn't remember national anthem. But she did the national anthem. I've heard Macy Gray sing before, so I pretty much knew what she was gonna sound like. We all, all of us are in the know, remember what Macy Gray sounds like. Some people were disappointed by it. They felt like she didn't do a good job. I thought for her range and her voice, she did a pretty good job. What you think about Macy Gray?
Yeah, I think Macy, a lot of people don't know about Macy. You know what I'm saying? They don't realize how bluesy and simplified but bluesy her voice is. So if you haven't really heard her music before, you can't really appreciate it.
Right.
So I think I kind of think usually they reserve those moments for the pop artists, the artists that are much bigger than her. But at the same time, I kind of like that she got that look. You know what I'm saying?
Macy had a run though. It's not like she's a I mean Macy she had a couple pop hits, but she's a stylized singer. Like she has a style that
Right.
either you like it or you don't. So she has the whole raspy joint going. I didn't think she'd done bad. You know what I mean? Now, did she do as good as what's the sister name who did Brandy, who did the Super Bowl? No, she's not even the singer that Brandy is, right? But I'm never kicking a black woman, right? She did her thing.
It is different. Right. It was different.
Right. Shout out to you, Shabaka St. Corey said greetings. Shout out to you, my brother. Welcome to the Big Black Sports Show. Earl Henning said like she didn't do a good job. I think he was trying to say people were talking shit like she didn't do a good job. I thought she did all right. Right. So big ups to Macy Gray. Big ups. Give it up for Macy Gray. Right.
Right.
Hope she got a check, right? Then let's get to the game. Okay. Now this is where I got an issue with you, Coach Tank. This is where my issue with you comes in at. Cause you talked a lot of shit last week about the Pro Bowl. And you were talking about how the NFL players don't put up effort in the Pro Bowl. And I like to see it go back to good old-fashioned football. And I'd like to see hitting. And I'd like, the NBA, they go much harder. And I even remember saying, man, they be bullshitting during the NBA All-Star game as well. So, and I think we had kind of like a different opinion, a difference in opinion on that.
Let me clear that up. Now, what I meant by that was the NBA goes harder as opposed to the NFL when it comes to their all-star platform. They put on much grander of a show. They go harder for the fans.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They go harder for the fans. Now, this game too, I had to turn this game off too, man. There were moments where I was like, this is just some bullshit. This isn't competition at all. I still want to see competition. I still want to see guys giving some kind of effort, man. You know what I'm saying? Play some kind of defense.
Right.
Give me some kind of offensive effort. And give me, give me some showmanship too. You know what I'm saying? Show me some handles. You know what I'm saying? Show me Curry was showing range. Now Curry, he was showing his range all night. He was showing his range. Even though uncontested and shit. But that was still fun to see him showing his range. But yeah, I want to see a little more of a competitive game.
Okay, right, but that still don't deal with the fact that you talking about going all out, putting up a better effort for the fans. I mean, the NFL did skills challenges, and the NBA did skills challenges. There's no dunk contest in the NFL. They don't have like a truck you. Like, so who gets to see you can run somebody over? Like, people would love to see that shit, or one-on-one pass rush drills. They don't do that because it's not meant to really tax the athletes. It's like a celebratory thing. So I think there's more pageantry, okay, if you will, put into the NBA's All-Star Weekend. It's more of a social event. I'll give you that. It's more of all the celebrities because it's indoor. You know what I mean? And it's you elbow to elbow with the players, which is funny because one of the bigger stories, even bigger than the game, was Michael Jordan taking a picture with Mary J. Blige, and allegedly he has his hand on her butt. Like that.
I saw that today.
And it's like, Michael 55, Mary 50. Who really cares if he did have his hand on her butt or not? Like, I mean, I do with Michael Mary. I mean, so what? Like, I thought that people was just looking for something. They was looking for some salaciousness, if you will,
right?
Like that.
I don't hear Mary complaining.
Well, I mean, there's the other footage of Mary talking to Mike. I mean, they obviously have some sort of a relationship. I actually remember back in the days, Mary J. Blige had a video, and Michael Jordan was in it. So we don't know what kind of, philanthropic things they've done, where it's opening up a center or some scholarship, whatever. They go to events all year, so they may have a real relationship. So I thought it was funny. Like, okay, and why you in grown people business like that? Anyways, Earl Henning said, I'm gonna put what Earl Henning said. Earl, you own one tonight, right? Like, he said apparently they had relations, right? Even if they did, who cares? Like, I don't care. I guess if that's if that's what you're looking for. But so we get back to the game now. I'm watching the first half of this game, and I'm literally noticing nobody's even trying to play defense, right? Cass is really literally running down the middle of the floor, dunking the ball. There's no resistance at all. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, like, where's all this hustle that Tank promised me? Where's all this intensity and this drive and determination? What is it, like 40-41 at the end of the first quarter, right? I'm hearing, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I'm hearing that the second half there was more defense. So I don't know. So if y'all out there and y'all watch the whole thing, let me know.
Especially the first quarter. The first quarter was very poor scoring. And they weren't even playing defense.
Right. Well, it was mostly dunks. That's why I think that was Ja who did the dunk, and I was just like, wow, that brother right there is something else. I don't know if you've seen it. So yeah, man. I mean, the game, if you're gonna change anything, change the dunk contest. The 3-point contest is fine. I don't really think that that's a big deal. I just feel like the dunking contest needs some innovation put to it. It was bad.
The stars need to come back. The stars need to come back and participate. You know what I'm saying? The top 5 shooters in the league the top 6 shooters in the league should at least be in the 3-point contest. There's no excuse for it. Now dunkers, definitely need more stars.
Well, I think the one thing about the dunkers is, and we're saying dunkers, the dunk contest is that back in the days they went harder because they made less money. So those bonuses that you could get at the All-Star weekend was huge. Now Cass is coming in, I make $35 million a year. I don't need to be in the dunk contest. I don't even want to put no shoes on until the night of the game. Like, some of these dudes is serious divas, right? Like, for real. And I mean, if you make that much money to play a game and you're young, so yeah, I just think maybe the incentive should be greater for players to participate in the dunk contest or something like that. Like, make it interesting, make it worth their while. I don't think you should get rid of it, because I mean, who don't love to see somebody who can really yam out, right? But or maybe they need to kind of implement it into the game and make it bonuses for best in-game dunk, right? Like, mix it into the game and say, when somebody dunk, you give them a score for it, right? And at the end of the game, you give out an MVP and you give out a dunk champion. See,
over the years, I guess in-game dunks are more exciting than the dunk contest itself to me. Yeah. I'd rather see somebody get dunked on anyway.
The problem with that is that once that was on the line, cats would immediately be running from the basket. Like, they wouldn't, right? They'd be getting like, you ain't finna dunk on me. Nah, I'm not having it. I think that would be the problem with that. That would probably be the main problem with that. So, but I once again, it was cool. I wanted to talk about the entertainment. We talked about Mary being there, and shout out to the culture, man, for really giving Mary her props, man, and her just due. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Mary because they say she can't sing. Mary J. Blige is one of my favorite artists of all, hip hop wise, of all time, and it's not really about her voice. It's about the passion. It's about the real shit that she sings about.
Right. Yeah, so Mary's one of my favorites too, man.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites too. Her props, man. I'm glad they featuring her on everything. She well, they say she got to pay that boy Kendu, so she got to pay alimony. So y'all keep Mary working, man. Listen. I'm not a fan of the big blonde wig. Okay, let me go out here and hold on, player. Let me go out here. I'm not a fan of the big blonde wigs, just because I think black women would just, their natural hair is beautiful. And once again, I'm the type of brother where I'm never going to tell a woman what to do with her hair, her feet, I don't care, but I'm not a fan of the big blonde wig. Let me just put that out there. It's just, at this point, it's redundant for me with like, it's really, really, But yeah, I'm glad to see her get her props. You know, it's funny to me that it's the how hip hop looks now. When I'm seeing DJ Khaled hopping around, and I'm seeing some of the young rappers, and I'm like, this is almost kind of like the corner store, where most of the corner stores used to be little black places in the neighborhood where you went and got what you needed.
Right.
And it was a lot of, hey brother, how you doing? It's a meeting spot. People meet up, the shoe shine man outside, whatever. And then the Arabs took over. Now I just kind of feel with hip hop, like he's, I'm looking at Khaled and I'm saying, wow, this is crazy. I just thought it was weird, man. And maybe, okay, maybe I'm the only one, and I'm the hip hop snob, so I feel a certain way about hip hop and rap music. And when I look at it now, I'm often critical of it. I seen they brought the Migos. They brought my son's the Lil Baby, not the baby. He wasn't there. I don't say the baby, right? Like I'm so old, I can't even say this shit.
I get mixed up too.
Right. So the one who was there, so he brought these youngsters out. All right, cool, whatever. My head was not bopping like it was during the Super Bowl halftime show. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't bopping the same way. What did you think about the game? What did you think about the entertainment? I don't know. You start where you want, just roll.
Well, I barely watched too much of the entertainment. I was glad to see the 75 player anniversary. That was pretty cool to watch. I actually watched the draft. They did the 75 player draft during halftime, and then to watch the ceremony. That was cool to see some of our favorite players from the old days get their recognition, man, and it brought back a lot of memories. That part of it was really cool. But yeah, man, there were some parts of All-Star Weekend that I just couldn't take anymore. I had to walk away from it. This was probably the worst All-Star Weekend I've seen in 10, 15 years.
Really?
Yep.
Why was that? Why was that?
Well, first of all, the All-Star, the slam dunk contest was terrible.
Okay.
That was terrible.
Right.
And the game itself, that was terrible.
So
like I said, I wanted it to be a little more competitive. I wanted to see a little more grit. Instead of just, the most defense I saw was them picking off each other's half-court passes and shit.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just terrible. Just, man, give me a more competitive game at least. And there's been some in the past that were good. There's been some All-Star games that went down to the wire. But man, this year, it was all pageantry. It was all show. Bells and whistles.
But what's wrong with that, though? What's wrong with that? Like, people want to be entertained. Like, the whole point of it is to entertain people. So, like, I mean, like, these dudes got to grind it out in like 180 games or whatever it is, the whole season. So why not have something for the fans, something that's entertaining, something that's, something that's
well. I guess it's all about your perspective, but when you think about it, when you're a league to say you're the best of the best in your professional league, I expect to see that every night, every given night. If I turn on an NBA basketball game, I want to see your best giving me their best because they're pros and they get paid to give me their best, for me to see their best. You know what I'm saying? So I naturally I would expect that. Especially to spend all that money to go down to kick it on the All-Star Weekend, to spend all that money to go down. Let's say you're not a native of the All-Star City. You catch a plane, drive down there, you go down there, you book a hotel, you go to all the parties and shit, and you spend all this money, and then you go to a game, and it's like you're not even paying attention to the damn game because it's so lopsided in a week. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
wait, hold on, man. I feel like you're missing the point here, Tank. I feel like you're missing the point, right? I'm kind of like, I feel a lot of heat coming off the end of that couch.
I get the pageantry though. I understand it.
Right. It's the experience. Like nobody's going down there expecting to see a nail biter of a game. Like you go down there to take a picture with your favorite star. You go down there to go to the little challenges and go and party and oh shit, I'm in the party and damn, there go Kevin Garnett and now you on your gram and and for a lot of people, it's about networking. Like because you go down there, there's corporations down there, there's Fortune 500 companies. It's a lot of money being made, in those luxury boxes at those games. So I don't know. I feel like you a little too tight right now. I feel like you a little anal about this, my nigga. I feel like you.
No, I'm cool with it though. I understand those things. I understand it's a business. You understand it's family friendly, things like that. But hey, they're professional basketball players. I want to see some competition. I want to see matchups. I want to see DeRozan versus Booker. You know what I'm saying? I want to see matches that I don't get to see quite often.
Well, you seen Giannis.
You see that in the All-Star game.
You see Giannis block Middleton shit, so you got to see some competition. First of all, I don't see how you're not entertained while watching Steph Curry get 50 points and hit what he hit.
Like I said, some parts of the game were entertaining. I like watching LeBron throw a lob to Giannis. You know what I'm saying? That was wishful thinking right there. Only if we can see that in Milwaukee.
Right. Well,
you know what I'm saying? There were some things. There were some things that I enjoyed.
You ain't gonna see that. You never know. LeBron's talking about he wants to play with his son. I'm like, is it just me or is it anybody else saying, what if his son don't make it to the pros? Like, but they saying right now, at his young age, where he's at with his skill set, they're saying he'll be a second round NBA pick. And LeBron is saying, I want to play long enough because he's a junior in high school right now. He's saying, I want to play long enough to play with my son. I want to play with Bronny, as they call him. I was just like, wow, it's crazy. I like to, I want my son to go to the NBA too. I get it though. The connections are there when your daddy's in the NBA. I get it. And he probably inherited some skills. So his kid, I guess, is pretty good.
And there's probably never been a father-son combination in play football, right? So it makes sense because he missed a college career. So that's 2 to 4 years where he spent in the league already. So there's a chance that he could last long enough.
You never know.
He could last long enough to at least play one season with him. And I think the NBA will find a way to make that happen too.
Maybe so. I don't know. I'm always like, I'm one of those people I'm never really over concerned with rich people problems. Like, no offense, right? But I could care less if your son make it to the league. Type shit. You got like $9 gazillion for playing basketball. Like, I don't. I mean, I'm with you. I'm just saying. Right. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it was an entertaining weekend for me. It's all entertaining. It served its purpose. And I'm looking at Earl Henning tripping in the chat room. Look, so he put so will Dwayne Wade's son play in the WNBA?
Oh man.
Oh no, Earl. I don't know if that is that what they would they consider that homophobic, right? I don't know. I mean, he will, right? At this point, like the little boy is apparently identified himself as a female, right?
It's a valid question.
It's a very valid.
It's a valid question.
Very valid question.
What if he was the son that had the skills?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, don't let this dress fool you. I got a jet.
Hey, Joanna Man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it goes on, y'all.
Man.
Joanna Man.
Hey, speaking of Joanna,
right?
Well, I'm not calling him Joanna, of course, but speaking of Juwan Howard,
the
Michigan basketball coach, Fab Five, Juwan Howard,
player. Juwan Howard. Hold on, player. Okay. Listen, I'm never, ever. I'm always with my people, right?
Yeah.
and I'm all about black power, and I'm all about black men working it out, doing what we got to do. But come on, Juwan.
Was he right or wrong for what he did?
Okay, so first of all, let me approach it from the perspective of a coach. We're both coaches, right? We both led young men into battle, so to speak. Not life or death, but football, sports, whatever, what have you.
Yep.
I feel like when you're the coach, you have to set a certain standard, and I think like a lot of times as coaches, you lose your players when you talk about something, but you don't really live that. And believe it or not, kids can see through the bullshit, right? Like youngsters can see through it, and they'll call you on your shit. So when you are into it with another coach, and I'm gonna get into the whole situation because this is a crazy situation for Juwan to have to navigate, but I think he made the wrong decision because he had young men with him who he knows some of them have actual real love for him. So one of them could have risked everything. Punch one of the Wisconsin players, broke his hand. Number one. Punch one of the Wisconsin players, critically injuring him, right? Getting arrested, right? You talking about swinging off on some white people, right? Charges normally come with that. So, and I'm talking about for the youngsters, not for Juwan, because he got attorney money. So I felt like it was wrong in that regard. Now let's get to what caused it. Taking the time out, right, Greg? But the one thing Juwan has to realize is you getting your ass whooped. It doesn't. He can do whatever he wants. He's winning. You know what I mean? If you really want to, it's like people used to complain. Well, we don't like when you dance in the end zone. Well, stop me from scoring, and you won't have to see me dance, right? So, the people in basketball, we talking about what they call sportsmanship and whatnot. Okay, so maybe taking the time out. Gard was trying to explain why he took it, because there was a press and he had backup players in, what have you, full court press. And I felt like that was a little disrespectful, but Gard did reach out and grab him. He did. And white people got to learn, you don't be grabbing on no brother. Now, this ain't 1955, right? You reach for me, what they say, them old folks say, you're going to draw back a nub, right? Like, so keep your hands to yourself. So was he wrong? Yes. Do I understand it? Yes. That's like the perfect way for me to answer that whole situation. I get it. But, and I thought after the game, he should have been a little bit more apologetic. The defiance and saying, I just felt like he should have been like, you know what? I want to apologize to them young men that I lead in the locker room because I was not a good example. Exactly. And this is not what I teach them, right? Like I felt like that's what he should have did. So what did you think about it?
No, I agree. I think he, there's a thing called coaching ethics. And some people follow him and some people don't. And he was right, making a timeout that late in the game, and you guys are decisively winning the game. There's no call for it, man. Run the clock out. The game is over. You know what I'm saying? And I would have did the same thing. In the handshake line and say, hey, I'm going to remember that, because that's exactly what he told him. Hey, I'm going to remember that. And I think Gard knew. I think Coach Gard knew that what he did was slightly unethical as far as coaching is concerned. I think he knew that, man. You know what I'm saying? And he knew coming up in the handshake line that there was going to be a little disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Now the thing is, Coach Howard hit, I think, an assist. He mushed an assistant.
Yeah, and there is, okay, so I'm sorry for interrupting you. I hate when people interrupt me too, especially when they say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but they still do. It's like when somebody be like, no disrespect, but you already know they finna disrespect the shit out of you, right? But that assistant apparently he was woofing apparently, right? Like, so he was the one who caught you slap upside the head, right? I think, and they said he even like grabbed one of their players or said something to one of their players. So Juwan, I guess, was in it like you talk, you ain't even head man, like shut up, right? Like and it was a light slap. It wasn't ham bone, it wasn't nothing like that. It wasn't
a sleeper. It wasn't a sleeper.
It's still Sidney Poitier in the heat of the night though when he slapped. It's still like, damn, he just slapped a white dude, right? And he did it during Black History Month, right? My man Juwan, right? No, I'm joking. I like white people. Don't take it like that.
Now here's the thing about that though, Kev. Here's the thing about it though.
Okay.
Gard was fined $10,000.
Right.
Juwan Howard was fined $40,000. And Wisconsin said about Coach Gard's fine, we'll pay his fine because that's a Wisconsin fine.
Exactly.
The way to control you controlled yourself, Coach, and that's what we were most impressed by.
Earl Henning said that was a teachable moment. I do agree. I do agree, Earl, but I feel like he should have said that in the press conference. I feel like that after the game, Juwan Howard was on some gangster shit. Like, you know, you put your hands on me, I whoop your ass. Like, I'm like, boy, all you need to do is light a Newport, right? Like, he was on some good shit. But again,
you know, you take your team, you gather them up, you go into the locker room, you tell your boys, hey man, I was so pissed off I could have dusted that damn coach. But you know what? We're gonna remember Wisconsin. Right. Remember this game. You know what I'm saying? Teachable moment. What they call it, billboard material.
Right. Yeah. Well, now, I guess last year there were some issues with him snapping on some referees. And you know, because he was coach of the year in the Big Ten last year, but I guess he had some situations where he, you know, motherfucker, like, hold on, wait, you know.
Like so he's still playing.
If I was Juwan Howard, I would launch a PR campaign. I would go and get anger management. I would bring people to come in and talk to my team. I would fall on the sword in public and say, I was not a good example of how to conduct yourself. That's what I would do if I was Juwan Howard. And he wrote a letter and he apologized today. He did write the letter. Well, you suspended. You off work for a minute, cuz. So yeah, but you at the crib, right? You chilling. So yeah, man, that's crazy though. And it's crazy sports. That's why I chose to do a show about sports, because that's how seriously people take sports in America. Right. You've seen footage of parents at Pee Wee League games attacking referees. They just had some players in Texas beat a coach and break his arm. They got the footage up. And I've been a Pee Wee League parent. I was never really a quiet dude at my son's game. I was into it. Like, and there was other parents who was into it, right? Like, so I get it, right? And I played. And you know, some intense battles where we fighting like we trying to kill each other, and nobody says, "Hey, bro, it's just a game." I'm at the game. I'm like, man, I'm still heated. So if he was still in that mode, but he did the right thing by apologizing. I'm not going to argue with his punishment, because I don't think it's race based. I think because he, you know, the number one rule is keep your hands to yourself, right?
Right.
And you slapped another grown man.
yeah. It could have got very nasty. You know what I'm saying?
It could have got crazy, especially if the teams had a really, you know, got down. It could have got ugly, right? What is it with Michigan? What is it with the state of the Malice in the Palace? What is it with Michigan where people just go there and want to fight and shit? Like,
Michigan is just a tough state,
right? Well, I guess
tough ass state.
I guess so. Apparently so, man.
I don't know. Is it like it's like the bridge between the Midwest and the East? In the East,
I would think Pennsylvania or something like that, or Ohio would take that title more so than Michigan. It's just with sports in Michigan, it's like crazy. It's like in Florida, people are crazy as hell, and you see most of the time you see some crazy shit happen. It's in Florida,
right?
It's like, damn, Florida. So, Earl Henning said it's a kid from the hood coaching the big times. I agree. Ain't that the story of the Fab Five? I guess for Chris Webber. Is he the only one who came from a little bread? The rest of them dudes was hood dudes, I guess. He got to get it together though.
Yeah,
bro, you 50, and black people say 50. You 50 years old. Like, you know, it was just such a poor example to be set for the youngsters, but I get it. And there ain't no telling what the little white dude said. So, That's something we got to look at too. It's the Big Black Sports Show on a Tuesday night, man. It's what we do every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. until whenever we cut the machine off. We still got a lot to talk about because we are nearing the end of Black History Month, right?
Right.
So we wanted to take some time to kind of talk about some Black athletes, some historically great Black athletes. Now, I got to pull your list up because you was very thoughtful in curating this list, I must say, Mike. Hello. And if you get to it before me, let me know. Okay, I'm quicker than you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about some of these athletes that you sent to me, and we talk about athletes who made an impact. They didn't just play the game; they left at a different game when they left. So we talked about Fritz Pollard, which is relevant with what's going on with Black coaches in the NFL. Please remind me, because I did want to talk about my man Flores getting a job with the Steelers.
Yes, yes.
Talk about that, as well as some of the other hires that have been made. You know, are they token hires? I don't know. We'll talk about that. But we talked about Fritz Pollard, who's the first Black man to play in the NFL and the first Black coach. But then we look at somebody like Curt Flood, groundbreaking Black baseball player. But the thing is he was the first one to rebel against the structure of being owned by a team. You know, he approached it as, look, I'm the one with the talent. I'm the one who plays the game. I should be able to play wherever I want to. So all the free agency contracts and all of that kind of stuff we see now, where especially in the NBA, where cats get to just go and build a team, ask LeBron and shit. Like, you just go get him. This gonna be the team. That free agency stuff, they all have to thank Curt Flood. And we talk about Jesse Owens, and Jesse Owens is one of those crazy stories where he was a great athlete during a time when it really wasn't cool to be Black. Olympic athlete. He always gets the credit for competing in, I want to say, the Berlin Olympics, where he outran Germany's athlete, and he was, in front of Hitler, and Hitler wanted to do the master race and all of that kind of shit. Jesse Owens had 4 gold medals in 1936 in Berlin. And I guess leading up to it, he had said that this would be a showcase for Aryan athletes.
Right.
And Jesse Owens, and there were other Black Olympians who won gold that year too. But I guess it was sad because he came home and he was like racing horses and shit, like trying to get money.
Yeah. Exhibitions.
It's crazy stuff like that. Like, and I guess back then you would say, why you just didn't go to the NFL? Well, that was during the time when the NFL was not letting brothers in. So definitely. And then we talk about Willie Mays. And even though, like, I feel like now Black kids don't play baseball no more. Shout out to the Beckham Stapleton League here.
Yes.
But Black people, like Black athletes primarily, we don't go into boxing as heavyweights anymore, and we don't really do baseball like we used to. It's more or less now basketball and football for Black athletes, which I think something that should change, because soccer is actually the biggest sport in the world. And so my son plays a little soccer when he was young. We chose to go, into football and basketball more. But Willie Mays was a baseball player, and Tank, you and I both marveled at the fact that he was a 24-time All-Star. And this is, he comes along in the 50s to say, hey, kid, as far as baseball goes, he's always been held in like the highest regard. So people, the purest baseball fans, they put Willie Mays up there with Babe Ruth and all those dudes who, was
highly regarded.
Brothers wasn't allowed to play. It's asterisks by anything before Jack took the field.
Right. And during Willie Mays' career, he funded baseball tours for Negro baseball players. He funded exhibition tours for them. Okay. So, this is a pretty much a big deal back then. You know what I'm saying? For people to be able to go and watch, Negro baseball players play. And he actually funded tours for these guys to get out across the country and play. Yeah, man. He was very instrumental.
That was something too that about Fritz Pollard that I noticed too, is that he wasn't allowed to play in the NFL after I think it was 1926 or 27. If you know the right year, correct me, please. It was after that year, all of the black players in the NFL were removed, and it wouldn't allow us to play in the NFL anymore. So he actually funded black football teams that travel from state to state and played. So he actually did that as well. So Fritz Pollard did that too. But you know, I want people to understand. I'm not one of those people who say let's get rid of Black History Month. Oh, that's fuck that. Keep Black History Month. I don't care. It's the shortest month. I don't care. Keep it. Because our history is deep and diverse, and it like people always remind me that we had history before slavery, right? You know, but the American black man, see, the black man is an American. They might not want to admit it. You a black man, you are American. As a matter of fact, we're the only thing this country truly ever created was black people, because they took what we had in Africa and scrambled our minds on it. And mixed it up and manipulated it and jumped in and jumped out and raided the slave Cuba Thomas Jefferson. How you think we got the barges and light-skinned people? It's massive. Dipping his wick, right? So yeah, keep Black History Month. But the key to it is that don't mean you should only study Black history during Black History Month. That's just once you acknowledge it. You should study it year round. You should always be researching yourself, getting to know who you are, getting to know what your history is, getting to know what your lineage is. So big ups to Black History Month, man. And when you talk about sports in America, you can't talk about it without giving it up for black people, because we have innovated and basically made every sport we've ever participated in much more interesting. So shout out to all black athletes, right? Even I'm hard on the WNBA, but even them, I'm horrible with the WNBA. Like, don't even get me started on that. Like, so I might lose some listeners and shit. Shout out to Sharon Evans. She said he played in the Negro League. Willie Mays, he did play in the Negro League. So it was big for him to give back once he made it.
Right.
She said it's the water. So okay, so it's playoff time for high schools in Milwaukee. Right. So I'm gonna do something right now that you won't see most platforms doing. I'm gonna give these youngsters in the city their props, and we're gonna talk about them and give them some shine. And shout out to you, Tank, for doing the research. And so we want to talk about the players and the teams to look out for in the playoffs. The kids who've actually had some good seasons, put up some big numbers, and got their team in possibly a position to win. You got your list?
Right, yeah.
Okay, where you want to start at?
So
where you want to start at?
Okay, so we can start with the boys regional.
Okay.
So according to information I got here, March 1st, the WIAA basketball regionals will begin. And a few of the area teams and players to watch. And I got my information off of WISports.net.
Okay.
And this is the coaches poll for week 12. So I was interested in the team from Milwaukee Academy of Science out of all schools. They're 19-3. They're Division 4, and they're led by a 6'2" guard named Tayshaun Bridges. Mm-hmm. Now he's the WISports.net's #1 ranked prospect, class of 2024, and he has D1 offers from Florida State, Auburn, Iowa, Louisville, Maryland, and Texas Tech.
Okay.
So,
and I like, if you're familiar with the AAU or basketball around, I think people have seen Tayshaun play before. Like, he's a very familiar name, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay.
You know, also Milwaukee Tech and King, they're tied for first place. Tech has a kid named Lyric Davis. He's averaging 23 a game and 9 boards and 6 assists. And he leads his team. Huh?
He's 6'5", right? Like, he's a tall kid. I think he's like 6'5". The kid from Tech. He's a decent tall kid. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's 6'5". Okay. Yeah, you know, but great numbers though. You know, 23 a game, 9 boards, 6 assists. He leads his team in 3 stat categories. So he's definitely a player to watch.
Okay, so we got MAS and we got Tech so far. Okay.
Tech. Tekken King, Mitchell King.
Okay.
Also, Milwaukee North has a kid named John Adams, a 6'5" sophomore, I think, that can score, rebound. This kid is averaging. This is what I find interesting about him. He's averaging 16 rebounds a game.
16 rebounds per game.
16 boards a game. That's pretty hot. You know what I'm saying?
That's hustle.
He's hustling. He's a hustler. And then I got Milwaukee Hamilton. They got a kid named Demarion Birch. He's a junior, 6'3" guard. He's averaging 29 points a game.
Wow.
You know, this kid is an assassin. He scored 51 against Pulaski, 48 versus South, and 39 versus Riverside.
Wow.
So we definitely got some good teams, some good players to watch in the upcoming state regionals and state tournament.
Okay.
I just want to give a shout out to some of the girls basketball teams. We got Milwaukee Reagan. They lead the City Blue division with a 12-0 conference record. Young lady named Kelsey Gordon of Bayview leads all scorers in the City Blue with 20 a game. In the girls City Gold division, Kings in first place with 11-0. They're 11-0, 7-2 overall. And they have a junior guard named Amani Warren that leads the team in scoring at 14 a game. Also, the young ladies from Milwaukee School of Languages, they're in second place in City Gold at 10-2. They got an 18 overall record. And yeah, these girls they got a triple threat going on down there. They're led by a young lady named I think you pronounce it Josiah Cunningham, and she's averaging 21 a game, and she's committed to Chicago State.
Right.
And also young ladies Jayla Butler, she's averaging 15 a game, and Naraya Broomfield, she's averaging 14.7 a game. So I would like to see those girls play.
All right.
You know, I would definitely like to see them play.
Okay. Shout out to all the youngsters who are trying to make it happen. Know all about that grind. Been there and done that. We got to give them some shine. Like I feel like in Milwaukee, the youngsters who do all the foul shit get all the spotlight. They get all the shine.
Right.
Spend so much time talking about what's wrong. We don't never give it up for what's right. So give it up for those kids, man. And a lot of those players you've mentioned, just because my son is an athlete, I've been around, I've seen their grind. A lot of these kids are in the gym year round.
Right.
A lot of them have coaches and trainers outside of what they do. Now, I did want to talk about the boys because we've been a little short in the city conference in Milwaukee on state titles over the past few years. And Milwaukee used to, and any Wisconsinite, any native Northside Milwaukeean, if you will tell you there was once a time when the city conference dominated basketball. Now, we've been getting our ass kicked sideways out the frame in football for a long time on the state level. Yeah. Basketball, there was state titles, gold balls coming home constantly, and that's kind of come to an end. Now, I know part of it is due to the spread of the talent. Like, I feel like parents just don't put their kids in MPS like they used to. The structure of MPS kind of changed because there used to be a thing called neighborhood schools, and there were citywide schools. So depending on what neighborhood you came from, you know, your options in terms of where you went to school at were kind of thin, right? And then they got 220 and you can get bussed out and all that. But there's a lot of kids in the suburbs right now going to school, playing sports, because a lot of people, my biggest joke is when I worked for MPS, probably I'm guesstimating here, probably 80% of the teachers that I encountered when we would talk about their children, and I'd say, well, what school do they go to? And they'd be like, Brookfield Central, or, you know, Waukesha Catholic Memorial. And I would always be like, well, why you ain't got them in MPS? And they kind of look at me and be like, what you mean why I ain't got them in MPS? So yeah. Yeah. A lot of the MPS employees, you know, come on now, they had to get that up, right? They don't put their kids in there. So
you might as well ask you, how come I didn't send my kids to Iraq?
Right. I don't want to be too critical of our people, right? Like, right. And my kids, when my son went to MPS up to high school, my daughter went all the way through MPS. She's a King graduate just like myself, right? Like so. But so I'm not totally, and I work with the public schools. Honestly, I'm not gonna tell you how and where, but it's part of what I do. So it's the fact of the matter is MPS has some issues that must be cleaned up.
Definitely.
You don't have to look too far. Look in the news, and you'll see a lot of what's going on with MPS. But just with our programs, like athletically, and we're talking about athletics, because football definitely needs an overhaul in the terms of the way the programs are built and maintained in the city. There has to be something done about that. Basketball is just now getting here. So I feel like what you have over at MAS is what I would call a collective effort, right? There's a lot of moving parts to that program, like getting kids over. I'm not saying that they're illegal parts either, but there's a lot of people who do things to assist with the program. There's an attempt to build a program over there and cultivate talent.
Right.
One of the main things that I criticize a lot of coaches for, youth coaches, when it comes to what we do now with our kids, is we don't get into character development with our kids. We don't really get into developing the athletes, like, because everything is so shotgun. So they can't walk into a program as a freshman and say, here I am, and be able to go through that program and progress over 4 years. And then as a senior say, wow, here I am now. So player development is very, very important. And, a lot of times I'll say this too. I pray that all those kids who are playing that want to go to the next level understand how important the mental side of this is.
Right.
There's a such thing as character, right? You talked about ethics. There's what do you do when people ain't looking? That's how you need. What's your ethical, moral compass like? Because oftentimes with athletes, they just don't get held accountable. They get away, they get passes. And I'm saying that because as a former athlete, teachers gave me passes. Like, don't worry about it, Kevin. Like, so people like, damn, he was that good. Yeah, I was that good. So I never hesitate to give myself props, do I? Right?
Hey.
Matter of fact, give it up for me.
Ain't nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back, bro.
That is absolutely hilarious. I find that to be so funny. But no, I hope we're teaching these kids, man.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable, because I can tell you a lot of kids go off to school and they are back in a month. We used to call this when I was in school, we used to call this a bus ticket and a bucket of chicken, because that's what they give you to get back home. Like, this ain't gonna work out, son. Because in college you got coaches who pay their mortgage. They do this for their mortgage. I gotta win games. They're not gonna play with you, right? So we need to build the kids, and facilities is a whole other thing, because go to Greenfield, go to Greendale, go see their school, look at their campus, and then come back here and look at any of our schools, and it's not even close. Some of those schools look like small community colleges.
We fight to get the bare minimum. We fight to get the bare minimum of things and resources that we need in the city conference to coach. And that's a shame. Certain things that are natural to our sports, equipment, things of that nature. We shouldn't have to pretty much, come out of the pocket a lot of times for some of the most simple things that the school or the school district can provide. And a lot of times, man, and this is cool, because I kind of wanted to segue into our situation with black coaches in the city and in the state.
Okay.
The WFCA Hall of Fame is coming up. That's the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. They've named their inductees for this year. And I've noticed that over the years, there have not been a lot of coaches of color that have been inducted into the WFCA Hall of Fame. And when you think about it, there's not that many iconic high school coaches, period, that we can really name from the city and the state. I mean, pretty much after Coach Gordon from Washington, you know, that's the last one that really stands out to me. You know, and then you got, you know, some of the current guys, but I'm talking about coaches that have long, storied, tenured careers here in the city.
Okay.
You got them all over the state. You know, you got coaches that got stadiums and gyms, high school gyms named after them because of their long tenured careers. But here in the city, we don't have that. Now, whose fault is that? Is it that we're not hanging in there long enough to work with our kids to create something special? Are we burning out too fast? Or do we just don't have the resources and the support we need to have those kind of fruitful careers? And I think it's both.
Okay.
You know, I think it's a combination of both.
Okay. So we can go all the way back with this one, right? Like I would think that there's requirements to be admitted to the Hall of Fame, right? So as a coach, we're going to look at what was your winning percentage first of all. Did you bring home some titles? Okay.
Right.
And then there's also tenure, like you talked about. There's tenured coaches who have been at the same place or in the profession 30, 40 years. And they've had success at different places, or maybe just in the same place. So if we look at MPS and we talk about the 70s and the 80s, the head positions in terms of football and basketball were white men for the most part. There were some black coaches here and there, like you mentioned, the brother Gordon, who is a should be already in the Hall of Fame just because he won state titles. He brought titles home. But the coaches who were in charge, specifically in the city conference, that held those jobs for 25 and 30 years were white dudes, right? As a matter of fact, you didn't really start to see black head coaches in the city until the late 90s. Like a lot of them. Like there was always some on each staff, but you didn't really see. I know Madison back in the days had Coach Dan Davis, who was over there for a while, but he was over there when their Hall of Fame Coach Krieger had left. And he came along. But then, you know, there's just not been the success for football because the coaches from the city that are in the Hall of Fame won a lot of city titles, like Lehman and what's your man from Marshall, Go-Go and
Konowalski from Tech.
Yeah, all these, you know, old dudes who I'm not gonna even say the other part of it. Right? Yeah, them dudes. I'm not gonna say the rest of it. But those guys, they were head coaches. They were around for 25 years, 30 years. So now there's a lot of course, because MPS is white kids are gone. So it's not a whole lot of white coaches in Milwaukee because they want to go to the suburbs and nobody wants to coach in the city. Football wise, your commitment to almost being a social service professional has to be there for you to coach in the city because you got to deal with so much stuff. The sad part is, like you said, with MPS being a multi-billion-dollar organization and there's being so much money floating around, there should be some allotment to really build successful athletic programs. I know that they've come a long way by redoing the stadiums because, you know, for a long time, and I played in the 90s, you played in the 80s. Those is old ass 1930s stadiums. I remember going to South Division before they toured. They had condemned a whole side of South Division, and it was literally bricks that would fall off, like it was falling apart for years, right? Until they redone. And it's a nice facility now, but for so long, it's like, really? Pulaski was the same way. Custer was well maintained, but it had its issues too. But they've redone these fields. Vincent has one. I just feel like there's room for a foundation there. I just think we, as parents, as community members, have to get together and build these leagues up. I've always said you have to make sports all encompassing, meaning that you have to have a little something for everybody. Like there has to be room for the cheerleaders. There's some attention for the young ladies to be pom-pom or dance with dance team, and trainers who, you know, monitors who go and get the tape and keep the kids, You can get an internship. I'm a trainer here. Bring UWM graduates in. Bring people in. And then the one thing that Milwaukee needs, and I'm gonna get off my soapbox after I say this. Mark my words before some buster come along and bite my idea, right? We need to take some money and put it into the schools and bring the band back. And I'm talking about HBCU style bands. We need to bring in instructors who can teach that. And we need to have battles of the bands at halftime and put some more pageantry into these games and get more kids involved with it, which will bring more adults to the game because I came to see my baby, which is going to bring more sensibility to the game, right? It'll be less than foolery when you got the parents there that night to be there to support. My daughter's a trainer. Look at her. She out there going hard. I'm just here to support her. So that needs to be something we need to put out there. So, I know a lot of bums out there. It's like, I'm right now. Martin say, I see you jotting. I see you jotting. I think it takes that. And I think we got to figure out how to get our kids back from the suburbs, just like they took their kids from MPS. We got to get our premium athletes, but we have to have somewhere to put them. Like some of the schools I coached at, when I walked around, when I would go to Pee Wee games with my son, maybe I have a coaching shirt on. I couldn't necessarily sell the school I was coaching at academically to the parents. If they say, give me 5 reasons I need to put my son over there besides football, I'd have been like, oh shit. They have mock chicken legs in the lunchroom sometimes. Like, shit like that.
Right.
Right. So what do you think it would take to fix the sports in the city?
Resources. We need an influx of resources. We need more money and more funding for the programs to make the programs more attractive for the kids. What we got to do is sell them on a commitment. You got to sell them on a commitment. And one of the ways of doing that, man, is feeding and clothing them. You know what I'm saying? Every program that I introduce as a coach, let's say I want to do off-season training. Well, and that's kind of an iffy subject there. But let's say I want to do off-season training, I may buy them Nike work T-shirts, and make sure that I feed them after each session, so they'll know that at least there's somewhere that I can go that I can eat. At least if I make it to practice, I at least know I'm going to eat after practice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good there. Man, just little things to reach out, man, and get this commitment from these kids.
Right.
You got to show them that you're there for more than just using them for their athleticism. You got to show them you care, and you got to show them also that your program is solid. I want to prepare kids not only to get better as football players and student athletes, but I want to prepare them for that next level if they choose to try to play on that next level. So I need all the resources to help me prepare them for the next level. I need all the things that a program needs. I don't need an empty sand lot and you throw me a few footballs and say, hey, okay, now build me a program. I need much more than that.
I feel like, once again, when you say there's COVID relief money that's been given to MPS, and we had Beverly Williams on who talked about some money that MPS has gotten in hundreds of millions of dollars, and they gave each school, I guess, $100,000. And somebody explained to me, at first we said, well, that's crazy. You got all that money. But they said, well, they may have given it to the schools and said, spend it on whatever you want. So if you gave them $100 to the clear and said, not if you said, well, budget out of this. No, this is recovery money. This is the COVID money. So, but I feel like, and maybe there is a movement for that, because, and I would hope so, because I like to see City Conference get at least a little bit of his, I feel like we had a little bit more heart when it came to competing, even in football. Back in the days, you went to the suburbs, you played, we fought, but we lost. It was outgunned a lot of times, but it wasn't like now. It'd be like 70 to 5, and it'd be like, whoa, like, ooh.
Right.
And I feel like we putting our kids at risk of getting hurt too. So I just feel like, and I'm going back. I I've made the commitment already. I'm going to go back and coach again once I get my strengths with an F, strength. Right. Black people say strength. Mm-hmm. I want to get my strength back from my surgery. I'm going to go back and coach football again, but I'm going to be more interested in player development, but really with every young man that I coach, whatever program that I'm in, I want to implement some things that benefit them, like you said, off the field. Because the one thing we did good in the past is we did have food. We did have canned goods. We did have a box with some coats and some shoes in it. And kids, if they needed something, they can come to one of us on the low and we hook them up. Several times we've put canned goods in a young man's backpack and say, hey, and even sometimes the kid says, well, what about my little sister? Because I got, you know, right. Okay, well, here, you know, so we've done that, vouchers for clothes. And but there again is what I said. If you want to coach in a city, you have to have a commitment to being a social service professional.
Right, exactly. It's much more of a commitment. You know, you're dealing with you deal with so many things being the head coach, man. It's like the X's and O's. That's the last part of it. You know, you're dealing with so many things on the front end of it. And yeah, man, you know, building programs. And a lot of our coaches get burnt out before they can really see the fruits of success. You can't be at a school, especially our schools now. Our schools are they're fractured, they're hurt, they're broke. So, and you're dealing with a lot of fractured, broken kids. So you can't expect yourself to just come into a school and create a winning program in just 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? You have to come in there and establish yourself as a coach first, as a person first, as a person that really cares first for these kids to gravitate to.
Okay.
And once you do that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and pretty much, and once you do that, and also your staff, you got to find some guys. Also, your staff. You got to make sure that you hire guys that are like-minded, that are about the kids and that are about developing the talent, and want to see them succeed. They got to have that same drive, you know, and that same commitment.
Okay, so right there, I want to stop you right there, because that becomes, when you come into this situation, I feel like you have to understand how to build a program. Because I kind of disagree when you saying 2-3 years, because I feel like 3 years, if you do it right, you can turn a program around. And I say that because we did it. Like, we came into a place where there was no winning culture, there was no demand, there was no expectations, there was nothing, there was no accountability. We put those things into play day one, and it went from there. So I'm saying, I feel like if you have the support now, where we would probably agree at is whether or not the administrative support from the school that's needed is there. Because I feel like if I'm a coach, I'm coming in and I'm saying I have to deal with my athletes on every level. So I need strength and conditioning,
right? And
I need academic support,
right?
And if I have to, as a staff, delegate different days and different times, we have to do an academic study table. I'm not going into the season saying I don't know if he's eligible or not. I'm not going into the season saying he's not eligible, because I would have told him in the spring, and we would have made other plans. Like, bruh, you ineligible. I got somebody else I got to work up to be a starter. But football is a year-round sport. I tell people this all the time. You don't win football games during the football season. You win them in the off season,
right?
In the weight room, in the camps, in the film sessions, into, you know, getting to know the game, then into practice. And practice is really where you become a good football player. Then the game is just, so I just get to do it against somebody in a different color jersey. It's the same thing. So but they gotta have that knowledge. Basketball is a little bit different. Because basketball has AAU, but there's so much right now that coaches in high school are really compromised in terms of basketball, because AAU really trumps high school basketball in a lot of cases. Like, now college coaches don't really got to go town to town, come to see you in little small French Lick, Indiana, where Larry Bird was. They just come to a 5-star recruit AAU tournament and say, I want to talk to him. You save thousands of dollars. on airplane tickets.
Well,
so
what I find
basketball is a little bit.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what I find funny about that situation is where college coaches will recruit kids in AAU, but a lot of these kids are not eligible to play for their high schools, though. Their grades are bad. So why are you recruiting kids that normally wouldn't make the grades to enter your program? It's kind of like, okay.
Well, because there's always, if you don't got the grades now, but I'm an AAU star, you got a JUCO. There's a JUCO out there with a scholarship with your name on it. So junior college basketball is easy.
You got some Division I programs that have relationships with JUCOs, you know. So that makes a lot of sense. Where, you know, if Kansas is recruiting a kid out of AAU, it's just they making the grades, and hey, we'll send you to one of our JUCOs. Okay, yeah, it makes a little sense.
That's right.
But, you know, and it's killing high school basketball though. You know, they're losing a lot of the talent because a lot of the talent are going to prep schools. They're going to suburban schools that, you know, or they're settling for AAU.
Right. We'll see how it goes, man. I think somebody has to come along with the idea, and that's why I'm saying we can criticize all we want, but if we ain't doing nothing about it, we might as well shut the hell up. That's why I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm going back to coaching, because if I know better, I should be out there doing it. Let me bring up Sharon Evans' comments. She said, when the Bucks were building the Fiserv Forum, the organization Common Grounds, was advocating to build Washington High School athletic fields to be state of the art like the suburban school programs. What happened with that? You know what? Excuse me. I was actually coaching at Washington, and when there was coaching football there, and we used to complain all the time about the potholes in the practice field.
Yes,
it's horrible. It is horrible.
That's half the schools in the city.
But so well, no, Washington might have had the worst one. Like really, like we would have
Marshall Field is bad too.
We would have to put Marshall's getting redone. Their practice field is getting redone now. I don't know if y'all had potholes like Washington did.
It was bad. It was bad. But I mean, we just had a meeting. We just had a coaches meeting at Marshall last week, and they didn't mention anything about touching the practice field, and it's terrible. I mean, matter of fact, I was advocating just for them to stripe the field for practice. Like, can we at least get a striped field for practice? Can we at least get that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why do we got to play on this damn sand lot? It's hurting kids. Right. The football field is hurting kids and shit.
Crazy, I just seen something about them. I just seen something about them doing redoing Washington's field, their practice field. So I'm answering Sharon Evans. Common Ground is who did Custer. I don't know if I think they did South. Common Ground has secured bonds, and they are responsible, along with MPS, I guess, a little bit, but Common Ground, they are pivotal, and they have been real necessary in getting these facilities redone for our kids here in Milwaukee.
And these are things that encourage kids to play.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So I think you have to change. There's some other changes that need to be made, because technically, if you redo the field at Washington and you put that right there, what is that? That is Sherman and Center. Is that Center?
Yep.
Right. It's still Sherman and Center. I'm sorry. The community around it has some issues, and the school has some issues.
But if I'm a kid that goes to that school, if I'm a student that goes to that school and I see that brand new football field, I may be interested in playing football now. Hey, that looks pretty slick. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna be interested in playing now. That that looks like something there. It's these little things that catches the kid attention. It's up to us to reel them in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's up. Of course, a football field is nothing if the program ain't any good. But it's a start. A nice looking.
It's a start. It's a start. I would agree with you there. I would agree with you there. I supposedly Aaron Rodgers is getting ready to go on. What's the Cats podcast that he's always on? where he goes and where he does his communications. I can't remember the name of it. The white dude. He's always on this podcast with this white dude.
AJ Hawk, right?
And I guess he's about to come on. No, that's not his name. I forget his name. He's I forget the white boy's name. You'll see it all over social media. I guess he's gonna go on there, and so he's apparently going to say what he's gonna do. Like okay. So with the Aaron Rodgers thing, for me, it'd be nice to keep Aaron, but at this point, as a Packer fan, I'm ready to move on. I'd be cool if he said he was gonna stay. It'd be cool for me. I just feel like there'd have to be some other stuff going on around Aaron. I think you got to take this off of Aaron and put it on the defense. If you didn't learn anything from watching what the Rams just did, because Stafford is nowhere near Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
If you look at some of the quarterbacks in the playoffs, they weren't as good. Like Garoppolo 49ers was not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but their defense was so much better. They had so much young talent. They had so many other players that were good that they kind of covered up for Garoppolo. And I think if you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers back, there has to be some changes made to the team, to the type of team you have, okay? Because I think you got to stop playing money ball, and you got to start getting some brothers, right? You got to stop being scared of the youngsters, and I know, Fox Valley, Wisconsin, Earl Henning call it White Wisconsin. I know this is not the ideal place for a young dreaded up brother from the South with a mouth full of gold teeth. I think you have to, in Green Bay, you have to take some steps to make more diverse, right? Like, and make it, make things that would attract these youngsters, right? Like, I mean, you got a casino. I'm gonna go in a casino. God damn, like, can we? There's nothing, right? You telling me though? I look at it too and say, all of the rich brothers who then came through, none of them said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna build a big ass club, a black club up here, and I'm gonna bring in national acts and all kinds of stuff to draw people, like players and stuff, to the city, like, and make money off of them. Because when you come to Green Bay, what you ain't shit to do, like you busting your ass trying to get on the plane and get the hell up out of Green Bay. So
right,
I think Aaron Rodgers, if he leaves, you save a lot of money on your salary cap and you can start over. You can find a young quarterback. Got to be smart. Maybe through the draft. I think they have the 28th pick in the draft. But if he stays, then we just got to change the team. And he has to spread his money out. All this diva shit, he got to restructure so we can get some talent in here. Because you got to sign Devontae, right?
Right.
And some other people too, right? And I know the rumor right now is they're saying Zadarius is taking all his shit off social media, so maybe they're gonna let him go too. They might just let everybody go on the defense except for a few people, which I would. Once again, I don't look at that and say that's horrible. If you're gonna go get some players, because we have failure in all the what they say, the three facets of the game: special teams, offense, and defense. And we lost in the playoffs on all three fronts. The defense well, but they couldn't get off the field at the end of the game. What did the Rams do in the Super Bowl when Burrow and then the Bengals were trying to drive? They made a play and they got off the field. That's what you got to do as a defense. Offensively, come on, you need some weapons. What we had just wasn't enough. They took away Devontae. Nobody else was able to do shit. Aaron Jones had a good game. We know the big boy got hurt. The big back got hurt. But you need more weapons, especially downfield. When you got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you need more weapons. And then special teams. Need I say any more about special teams? One of the main reasons, as a Green Bay fan, I watched the Super Bowl with a lonely look on my face.
Man.
It's their special teams.
I mean, and not to be so hard on that special team coach, he deserved to lose his job. But the personnel, you got to pick the right personnel for your special teams. If you don't pick the right personnel for your special teams, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have the right personnel, and all that is your second and your third string players, next man up. So if your backups are weak and they can't get the job done, dude, you got to lose your job. And that last block, the last field goal, the middle, and they came up the middle. How many blocks do you see of a field goal up the middle? It's usually off the edge, off the wing. But up the middle, that's where your strongest players are. That's your biggest, strongest. That's your nucleus.
First of all, somebody tell me when the last time you seen a football game with a block punt and a block extra point. It just doesn't happen. That was a what they call a cataclysmic failure.
That's terrible.
Right.
I mean,
so the Packers got some. I just say I think Aaron Rodgers is one part of it, but I think just collectively as an organization. But you got to be careful because you have been the dominant team. You have won your division.
Well, the kicking game has been bad all year.
Us.
You know, I mean, just to add to it, though, the kicking game has been bad all year.
And Aaron Rodgers always suck ass in the playoffs. I said it. Right.
Hey, what, 11 years?
Suck ass.
One Super Bowl out of 11 years? I don't know, man. I had to think about it. I really had to think about it, man, because I would hate to lose a great quarterback. I feel like a great quarterback is the cornerstone of a great offense. We lose him, I don't see us going far in the playoffs next year. I don't see us making the playoffs next year if we lose Aaron Rodgers, unless we get another top-tier quarterback. Unless we get another top-tier quarterback.
I don't believe that. I disagree.
Jordan Love is going to lead us to the playoffs.
I think you need a game manager. If you look at some of the greatest teams in NFL history, they didn't have great quarterbacks. They had game managers. Listen, you look the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl with Warren Sapp in that defense where the Tampa 2 was revolutionizing the game. Trent Dilfer was the quarterback.
Okay.
Well, Terry Bradshaw was not a great statistical quarterback. Okay. The Ravens teams, Trent Dilfer, like this game manager. You don't need. It's cool to have a big time quarterback, but there's only one Mahomes every 10 drafts. Okay. So yeah, it's good to have a great generational quarterback, but a lot of times a great quarterback can handcuff the organization because he demands too much of the money and he demands too much of the spotlight. So it takes away from other places. What I would say is the cornerstone of a championship team is a great defense. Point blank, period. If you draft Hall of Fame defenders and they stay with you, you're going to win more championships than you'll win with a high-powered offense.
I think the term defense win championships is overrated. You got to score points.
Spoke like an offensive coach.
You got to score points. I mean, that's the basis of the game, to score points. The team that scores the most points wins, right? So you got to score points. You can play a great defense all game, but if you give up one score, that's it. You lost.
Don't forget you can score on defense. Don't forget you can score on defense too.
True. You can. Okay. You can. But I mean,
the 49ers won and not one offensive touchdown. The 49ers beat the Packers. They didn't score one offensive touchdown.
I'll tell you, I check this out. What is the most important position on defense in football?
Cornerback.
Okay, you say cornerback, right? Now, some people will say, okay. Well, some people will say the linebacker. No. Some people will say strong safety because those two are usually the leaders of the defense, right? But the thing is,
I have some audio technical difficulties with you right now.
Are you okay? What's going on? Can you hear me now?
I don't think it's your mic; it's the signal. We getting it's a real delay. Yeah, you know how this internet shit is. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if it's your internet or mine, but you're getting it's really a weak signal. Okay. Now, what was you saying?
Right. So basically, yeah, I don't lost track here. All right. So basically,
no, you didn't fall off the bike.
Right, I done fell off the bike. Right. So basically, what I was saying was this. Okay, you take your two most important players, the leader of your offense and the leader of the defense. Which one is more important to your team as a whole? I think it's the offensive player because, like I said, you have to score points to win games. Yeah, you say, okay, yeah, the defense can score, but no defense can consistently score points to win the game. It's your offense. So, and who's the most important player on your offense? Your quarterback.
I think the 85 Bears would disagree with you. I think the 85 Bears, I think the Ravens, and I think the
McMahon was a good quarterback.
Buccaneers defenses would disagree.
McMahon was a Pro Bowl quarterback.
McMahon was a game manager. He was a game manager.
He's a Pro Bowl quarterback.
McMahon was not a. He was. He won a Super Bowl. He managed the game.
Hey,
he wasn't great.
He was a Pro Bowl quarterback. You don't have to look, but like you say, you don't have to be a great quarterback. You don't have to be a great quarterback, but you do have to be a good quarterback.
He's a game manager.
Not all game managers win the Super Bowl though. I mean, hey, look, I would love to have a quarterback. But look at the things that a great quarterback gives you. A great quarterback ain't nothing but another coach on the field. Nothing but another coach on the field. Right. Especially, man.
I can say the same thing about a great middle linebacker or a great wide receiver, or a great running back. I can say the same argument. It's the same argument.
You can, but linebackers and cornerbacks don't score touchdowns quite often. They don't score. They don't score points to win games. Their job is to defend. They react. They have to react to the offense.
I never knew you were so partial to offense. This is interesting. And our signal is telling us it's probably time to check out. So I don't know what's going on because I want people to be able to hear you. And so I don't know if it's on your end or mine, but we're having a real ditty right now because every time you start, it's breaking up. I mean, basically, you're an offensive coach and you're an offensive guy. I don't know what it is. I don't know why the signal it's really like your audio is really choppy. It's really like delaying. So I don't know what's going on. But we'll iron it out, man. This is why you need to hit the Cash App so we can get better equipment. And we're gonna start a GoFundMe to get Tank a better computer. I'm talking
right. It could be me.
I'm gonna blame it on somebody else. It's his shit. It ain't mine, right?
I'm gonna have the issues work. I'm gonna have the kinks worked out soon.
Yeah, we all good. I don't know. Yeah, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Our audio is getting kind of choppy, so I want to make sure we can go out on a good note. And we'll continue this conversation. I knew Tank was an offensive coach, but I didn't think it was like, I didn't think he was disrespectful like he is, like talking jazzy about defense. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Yeah, right. That's that. As we said in Milwaukee, that's that bullshit.
Offense.
Shout out to everybody who tuned in, man. Right.
Sir.
Whatever. Notice in the word offense is offensive. What you just said was very offensive and disrespectful to the game. Listen, y'all make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night for Outlaw Radio. Big things, big show. Robert Miranda will be in there. And we'll talk about the water and we'll talk about the upcoming election. So we'll be a little bit more serious tomorrow night for Outlaw Radio. And it's gonna be called Outlaw Radio. It's in the water. Obviously, because Robert Miranda from Flack will be here, who's a friend of the show, been on many times, great dude.
Cool.
Then Thursday, Outlaw Nation is coming. Put your book back up, Tank. Yes, sir.
Fullback.
Outlaw Nation on Thursday.
I want to thank everybody.
Brother's book, Fullback. Make sure.
Okay. I want to thank.
Tell them how to get it, Tank. See if we can get that in.
Man, you can order the book on Amazon or Lulu. I gotta get the link up, but it's on Amazon and Lulu.
Okay.
$10. Hey,
Lulu,
it's worth it. Great story. Lulu, yep. Amazon and Lulu. It's a great book. Really support that.
Yeah, man, and make sure you share it into People's News Network. Like I said, man, hit the Cash App up, support the movement. I will see y'all tomorrow night. I can't wait until tomorrow night so I can get loose. And well, no, that's Thursday. Tomorrow night I got to be a little bit more dignified, but I'm gonna still get loose on Outlaw Radio. Who am I kidding?
Right.
Shout out to Earl Henning. Shout out to Miss Sharon Evans, Lisa Mueller. Rest in peace to E. Dan. Rest in peace to Lamo. Rest in peace to the brother Manias Hannah, who lost his life. Rest in peace to anybody. Rest in peace to the 15-year-old sister Gabrielle Lounge.
Shout out to Coach Connor. Shout out to Coach Connor. He just had brain surgery. He's recovering right now. Shout out to you, Coach. Okay. Recover well.
All right.
Coach.
hey man, it's for us to start doing for us, right? Like we
Right.
really need to be building our own networks. We really need to be establishing our own footprints, man. But in order to love our community, we have to learn how to love ourselves, right? Because you can't
Right.
love anybody if you don't love yourself. That's why I always tell people, all you got is you, and all we got is us. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Peace and love.
Peace. Man, that was a good one. That was a good one, bro. Appreciate it. Hey, I'm a cool.